Peppa Pig, George and the Dinosaur.
Dinosaur! Roar!
Shouted George. George and his friends, Richard Rabbit and Edmund Elephant, loved dinosaurs. Wherever they went, they were always searching for fossils, stones and bones. In the sandpit, at the playground, and even in Grandpa Pig's garden. One day, when Richard and Edmund came to play, Mammy Pig had a special surprise. "We're going on a fossil hunting adventure at the beach," she said, "with Miss Rabbit the fossil hunter." "Are fossils always dinosaurs, Mammy?" asked Peppa. "They can also be the remains of plants or animals from a long, long time ago," explained Mammy Pig. The children put on their fossil hunting clothes and packed their bags with special tools and fact books. "Ready to go exploring?" Mammy Pig asked. "Yes!" cheered Peppa, George and George's friends, jumping up and down.
Hooray!
The brave explorers set off to meet Miss Rabbit at the beach. "The tide was high last night," said Miss Rabbit when they arrived. "Hopefully there'll be lots of wonderful things whipped up by the waves for us to discover." "Yippee!" cheered the children. "But if not, you can always buy fossils from my shop at the end," Miss Rabbit continued. "There's an offer on today, 2 for the price of 1. Miss Rabbit took out her fossil collection to show the children. "This swirly rock is an ammonite," she said, "and these shiny rocks are called fool's gold." Miss Rabbit held up some little rocks with gold bits in them. "Ooh, gold!" gasped Peppa. "I love hunting for treasure." "Unfortunately, it's not real gold, Peppa," explained Miss Rabbit, "but it's lovely and shiny." "This one's a belemnite," said Edmund, looking at Miss Rabbit's fossils. "It's an extinct mollusk, and I believe that one is a fossilized boo." "Pooh!" snorted the other children. "Don't worry," said Edmund. "The poo is millions of years old." Edmund Elephant was very clever. "Wow," said Miss Rabbit. "You really know your stuff, Edmund." George pulled out a dinosaur book from his bag. "Dinosaur! Wow!" he asked, showing Miss Rabbit a picture of a dinosaur. "No one has ever found a complete dinosaur skeleton on this beach, I'm afraid, George," said Miss Rabbit. "But you might find some little fossils like the ones in my collection." Then Miss Rabbit turned to them all and said, "Now, shall we get started?" Peppa walked along the beach, looking at the ground, but she soon gave up. "I can't see anything, Mammy," she said. "Just lots and lots of sand and stones. I'm going to build a sandcastle instead." Meanwhile, George, Edmund and Richard explored the beach together. They took their fossil hunting mission very seriously. After Peppa had finished her sandcastle, she peered over at George. "Look, Mummy," she called. "George has found something." Mammy Pig and Miss Rabbit looked over at George. Their mouths dropped open. The explorers pointed to a huge rock further down the beach.
"Oh dear, Mammy Pig," sighed Miss Rabbit. "It looks like you're bringing the whole beach home with you." "Hello, George," said Mammy Pig. "What do we have here then?"
"Dinosaur!"
said George, holding his arms out on as wide as he could go.
"Big dinosaur!" "We believe this rock contains a complete skeleton of a dinosaur,"
explained Edmund.
"George found footprints in the rocks near it, which are a clear sign. Can you help us crack it open, please?"
"Are you sure it's not just a big rock?" Mammy Pig asked. But then Miss Rabbit took a closer look at it and pulled out her phone. "Yes, that's right. Very big," she said into her phone. "Please come immediately." Soon after, Mr. Rabbit arrived in a big truck with a team of helpers. Very carefully, they lifted the rock onto the truck. "We'll meet you at the museum," Mr. Rabbit called out as they drove off. At the museum, everyone watched excitedly as Mr. Rabbit and his team cracked open the rock. Everyone gasped. Mr. Rabbit was the first to speak. "What we have here is a complete skeleton of a—"
Dinosaur!
interrupted George. "That is correct. It is a dinosaur. In fact, it is a triceratops," confirmed Mr. Rabbit. "George, you are an expert fossil hunter, aren't you? This is an amazing dinosaur discovery." "Wow!" everyone cried, looking at the skeleton. Even Peppa was impressed. "Now," said Mr. Rabbit, "what shall we call this incredible dinosaur?"
"George saw us the first,"
cried Peppa.
"because George saw the dinosaur first."
"Roar!" cheered George. Everyone laughed. "In this case, I officially name this dinosaur the George-osaur-ceratops Roar," announced Mr. Rabbit. "A big dinosaur like this needs a big name like that." Everyone loves fossil hunting and dinosaurs, especially George, the dinosaur expert. The end. Peppa Pig, George's new dinosaur. George's favorite toy is Mr. Dinosaur. George likes bouncing Mr. Dinosaur in the garden, playing with him at bath time, and he loves going to sleep with Mr. Dinosaur beside him. At bedtime, Peppa says, "George, I think Mr. Dinosaur is broken." George is very upset. Mummy and Daddy Pig come in to see why George is crying. Cries George. "Poor George," says Daddy Pig. "Maybe it's time we got you a new dinosaur." The next day, Peppa, George, Mummy and Daddy Pig visit Mr. Fox's shop. "I'm sure we'll find a lovely dinosaur here, George," says Mummy Pig. "Look, George," says Daddy Pig, pointing to the shop window. "There's a big one."
"Oh, dinosaur!"
says George. "Good morning," beams Mr. Fox. "Can I help you?" "We'd like to buy the dinosaur in the window, please," says Daddy Pig. "Good choice," says Mr. Fox. "This is Dino-Raw. He walks, he talks, and he sings." "Wow!" says everyone.
"Dino-Roar!"
says George excitedly. "We'll take it," says Daddy Pig. George is playing with Dino-Roar in the garden. Dino-Roar sings, "Dino-Roar, Dino-Roar, listen to Dino-Roar, roar!" "Careful, George," says Daddy Pig. "Don't play too roughly because Dino-Roar will get broken." George wants to play with Dino-Roar in the bath.
"Dino-Roar!"
says George. But Mummy Pig says, "George, if you get Dino-Roar wet, he'll stop working." Peppa and George are asleep in bed, but suddenly Dino-Roar comes to life. "Roar! Dino-Roar! Dino-Roar!" "George," says Peppa, "Dino-Roar has woken me up." "Maybe Dino-Roar should sleep somewhere else," says Daddy Pig, taking Dino-Roar away. George is feeling sad. He cannot play with Dino Roar in the garden, or the bath, or even in bed. Never mind, George, says Mummy Pig brightly. Dino Roar can still roar. Dino Roar, listen to Dino Roar. Dino Roar stops walking and talking completely. I think the batteries must have run out, says Mummy Pig. Already? How many are there? Grumbles Daddy Pig as batteries pour out of Dino Roar.
Hundreds and thousands,
cries Peppa as she picks him up. Peppa spots something green under a bush.
What's this?
Says Peppa.
Is it a trumpet?
You found Mr. Dinosaur's tail, says Mummy Pig. Now Daddy Pig can mend him. He might be a bit difficult to mend, says Daddy Pig doubtfully. But the tail slips perfectly into place. Daddy Pig has mended Mr. Dinosaur. Ho, 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 chuckles Daddy Pig.
Hello, Mr. Dinosaur,
says Peppa. Arr, replies George. Everybody laughs. Mr. Dinosaur is George's favourite toy in the whole world. The end.
Hi kids, did you have fun watching this video? Then like and subscribe for more.